Hi guys, welcome back again to another sewing tutorial on this channel. If you're stopping for the first time guys, you're welcome. In today's video we'll be learning how to make an halter neck corset. If this is what you're interested in learning, watch the video to the end, like, share and subscribe. So guys, let's get right into the tutorial. Okay guys, welcome back again. The first thing I'll simply do is to establish my shoulder line. I'll simply come down by 1 inch and then I'll go ahead and use the straight part of my pattern master to draw a straight line, and then I'll label it. The next thing I'll simply do guys is to mark my neck width measurement, which is 4 inches, and then my shoulder measurement 7.5 inches, which is your shoulder divided by 2. From that point I'll come down by 1 inch to establish my shoulder slope, linking it to my neck width. Guys, the next thing to simply do is to establish our armhole curve. What we need to simply do here is to divide our round armhole by 2. So for me I have 9 inches, but I'll be subtracting 1 inch since it is a sleeveless to avoid so much exposure around the arm. So I'll be working with 8 inches guys. So I'll go ahead and establish my chest line. The armhole establishes the chest line. I'll simply go ahead and draw a straight line and label it at the same time. The next thing I'll do is to mark the midpoint of my armhole, which is 4 inches. From that point I'll go in by ½ an inch. Then I'll also place the quarter of my bust or my chest line, and then I'll go ahead and draft my armhole curve, linking these 3 points together. So guys, the neck depth I'm working with is the basic neck depth, which is 3 inches. I'll go ahead and draft my neckline, and then I'll also go ahead and place my horizontal measurement, which is the bust, the underbust, the waist and the hip line. Okay, so for me the full measurement of my corset blouse is 24 inches, and since I'll be using a bust that the front pattern will be different. The front part blouse measurement will be different from the back measurement. So I'll go ahead and draw a straight line, and then I'll label. In pattern drafting, we'll label. There's need for you to label, okay, so that you don't make any mistakes or to avoid errors. Okay, so what I'll simply do guys is to mark the quarter of my half bust span, which is your nipple to nipple divided by 2. For me I have 4 inches. It varies for different people. For some they have 3.5, for some other person 3.75. So guys, the next thing I'll do is to contour my underbust. My dart intake is 2 inches, which is distributing 1 inch on both sides. If you're on the bigger side, bigger bust, or if you know you have a plus size, you can do 1.5 inches on both sides. Okay, so for the over bust contouring, I'll also be using this radius of my underbust for the over bust, which is 3.5. Then if you want your cleavage to be revealing, you can come down a bit by ½ an inch, which is 3 inches, or you can go above your radius to do 4 inches, which is 1 inch above your radius, or ½ an inch above your radius. So guys, for the over bust contouring, I'm doing 0.75 on both sides, and then I'll contour it down to my bust point guys. At the center front, which is my bust line, I'll be moving upwards by 1.5 inches. From that point I'll go in by ½ an inch, and then I'll go ahead and create a curve, linking it to the one dart leg. So at this point guys, we're trying to create our corset cup. Okay, so for the other side of the cup, what I'll simply do is to come down by ½ an inch on my chest line. I'll go ahead and draw a straight line. The radius of my underbust still remains 3.5. For the other side of the cup, which tends to be fuller than the other side, I'll be adding additional 1 inch, which is 4.5 inches. I'll link it to the line and then create a curve above and below. You can see where I'm linking the cups to. Okay, on the dart leg for the over bust and one dart leg at the under bust. So guys, for the halter neck, which is made up of a neckline band and a yoke, I'll be marking for the neckline band. I'll be marking 2.5 inches around my neckline. This is not a standard, depends on how broad or how you want to create your band. Okay, so I want my band to be a bit broader, just like what we have on the thumbnail. So I'm doing 2.5 inches. From that point From the shoulder, I came down by 0.75, and then I'll go ahead and create a new armhole curve. Okay, it's an altar, so I'm trying to create a curve. So in other words, the basic armhole will be irrelevant. That's why I'm shading it so that we can see the new armhole curve. For the keyhole neckline, I also create a curve linking it to one dart leg. Okay, so that when you're joining your yoke, you know that you're starting from one dart leg to place your yoke, or from the dart line to place your yoke, because when you join it you won't see the dart leg. So from the dart line you place your yoke. Okay, so this is a three-part corset for the cup. From the center front is 1.5 inches, at the midpoint of the cup 2 inches, and then as you move downwards you end up with 1.5 inches. So the midpoint of this cup is 2 inches, and then at the side and the center front of the cup is 1.5 inches, guys. So I'll go ahead and label my cup 1, 2, 3. Okay, because the upper part of the cup will merge it so it becomes one. So having done this, I'll go ahead and place my body measurements. At the chest line, I'll replace my dart intake there of about 0.75. Won't be using any seam allowance. This is, if it's a zipper, you can do seam allowance, but when you're doing a corset, you cut your seam allowance on the fabric, which is just simply 1/2 inch for joining. Okay, for the waist, the quarter of your waist plus your dart intake. For the hip, the quarter of your hip plus your dart intake. So guys, I'll go ahead and join this point that I established on the pattern. Okay, for this area, just use the curvy part of your French curve to link it. So guys, the next thing we'll simply do is to snatch our corset. So for me, I'll be snatching by 2 inches. You can do 4 inches. So 2 divided by 4 is 1/2 inch. So we're snatching with 0.5 inches. If you're snatching by 4 inches, so it's 1 inch, which is 4 divided by 4 is 1. So we're doing 1/2 inch. From that point, I'll go upwards by 1 inch, okay? And then you link this point together, and then you connect it to your chest line and down to your hip. Okay, so in other words, you have eliminated 1 inch, you've eliminated 2 inches from your total measurement. You have 1 inch for the front pattern, which is 1/2 inch on both sides, and 1/2 inch on both sides for the back. So the next thing I'll do is to place my bust dart, which is 1.5 inches, the difference between your front waistline and your back. I'll go ahead and open up my waist dart to enable me close my bust dart, guys. So this is so easy to create, guys. So I'll go ahead and close. You can either cut it open or use your masking tape to close it up properly, but I'll be using a masking tape. I'll go ahead and blend the cup. You can see that the lines are it's not properly matched, so I'll go ahead and blend it, okay, properly, and then I'll use my masking tape to close up my bust dart. The next thing I'll do is to cut out the excess pattern paper. And yes, this is our front pattern. After cutting this out, we'll simply move over to the back. Okay guys, we're done with the front. We'll simply move over to the back pattern. For the back pattern, guys, I'll do the same just like I did for the front pattern. I'll come down by 1 inch, and then I'll go ahead and use the straight part of my pattern master to draw a straight line. The next thing I'll simply do is to also establish my neck width measurements, which is 4 inches, my shoulder measurement 7.5 inch. For the shoulder slope, guys, I'll come down by 1 inch, and then I'll link it to my neck width. Okay, so guys, I'll go ahead and also establish my armhole, which is 8 inches. Remember that I mentioned that I subtracted 1 inch from my total armhole measurement, which is 9 minus 1. For some, they do your round, you can do your round bust divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches. It also works for some persons. So guys, for on the midpoint of my armhole, I'll be marking my I'll be marking 4 inches, and then I'll link it to the bust measurements on the chest line. I'll simply go ahead and place my horizontal measurements, which is place my vertical measurements. Yes, this is vertical. I'll go ahead and place my vertical measurement, which is my waist measurement. For the back pattern is 16.5. Then the hip measurement is 22.5, simply because we made use of a bust that's for the front pattern. But our actual waist measurement for the back pattern is different from that of the front pattern. Okay, so guys, what I'll simply do is to draw a straight line on the chest line. You can either make it curvy or straight, but because it's straight on the thumbnail, we work with a straight line. So guys, I'll go ahead and place my half bust span, which is nipple to nipple divided by 2. I'll draw a straight line. I'll be using a simple basic dart for the back pattern, which is marking 1/2 inch on both sides of the waistline, and then you go ahead and link it to your hip and then to your chest line. What I'll simply do next is to take my horizontal measurement, guys, so which is 1/4 of your bust for the chest line, the 1/4 of your waist for the waistline, plus your dart intake, the 1/4 of your hip, guys, on the hip line. So like I mentioned earlier, for the front pattern, we're not going to be using any seam allowance. We're going to be cutting the seam allowance on the fabric. So I'll go ahead and link these points together. So for the waist snatching, just like we calculated for the front, is 1/2 inch. At that point, I'll go up by 1 inch and then link it to my chest line and then my hip. So the shaded area is the snatched portion. So we're snatching by 1/2 inch. Automatically, we have removed 2 inches from our total body measurement. For the eyelet holes on the back panel, I'll be going in by 1.5 inches. If you want exactly what we have on the thumbnail at the back, you want it this way, then there's no need for snatching. By the time you tie the rope, it will snatch and close up the back, okay? But when you snatch, you leave your back pattern, the back open the way it is. So guys, for the neck depth, we're doing 1.5, and then we'll go ahead and create our neck band alongside with our halter. So I'll be coming down by 0.75. For the back pattern, I'll go ahead and link it to my armhole, as you can see. And then at the center back, I'll go ahead and create a curve. You can see that the keyhole for the back is different from the front, so I'll create this curve like so. So I'll go ahead and label it as my back yoke and then the back neckline. So guys, what I'll simply do is to cut out the excess pattern paper, and then our back pattern is ready. So guys, if you have watched to this point, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, guys, and stay with us for other interesting tutorial. Thank you so much for watching to this point, guys. God bless you. I'll see you in my next tutorial. God bless you.